There we go. So this is a project which it's image-based ecological information system, IBIS, which we just renamed as Wildbook. It's in collaboration. The principles of this project are ecologist Dan Rubinstein, computer vision scientist Chuck Stewart, and Jason Holmberg from WildMe, data architect. So images have become the most abundant, readily available, widespread, best covered, cheapest, whatever you want adjective to put, source of information about wildlife. And they come from scientists, field assistants, camera traps, drones, tourists, citizen scientists, accidental photographers, and professional photographers. And even sort of quite often we get them by accident when unintentional photobombs. So if we actually can harness all these images about wildlife and extract information out of them, then we can use that to really augment all the information we have about animals in the wild. And so how do we do that? Because what we get from all of these sources is something like this, right? Thousands and thousands of images that contain useful information. We can find the images that contain animals in them. If we can identify who the animals are and get all the metadata of where the image was taken, who was, what the time of day, and what the habitat around is, and so on and so forth. So what we have image-based ecological information system is we've developed a series of computer vision algorithms. At the foundation of it is one that out of this whole mess of images, we can find the ones that actually contain animals. Not only that, but we can find where in those images the animals are. So this is reasonably standard computer vision. But we can go further. Not only we can say that this is an elephant, a zebra, a giraffe, or a shark, or a whale, we can take now all the images that contain zebras. We can also ask who is that particular zebra. And so that's a hotspot algorithm developed. Right, so this is Zippy the zebra, and we can say Zippy the zebra, Joe the giraffe, Paul the elephant, Sammy the shark, for anything striped, spotted, wrinkled, or notched. And most recently, for using edge detection for whales and dolphins using the fluke. So evidently, all the patterns, all these patterns that you see from lionfish and frogs and toads and sharks have uniquely identifiable patterns, but also rhinos and elephants have wrinkles just like your fingerprints. And then whales, their flukes have unique edges, the shape of the edge is unique, and the dolphin's fin. So with that now, and so that was original hotspot algorithm by Chuck Stewart and his students at the foundation. But now that you have all of that, the question is, so you have, let's say 57 photographs of the same animal. What do you do with it? How do you actually put it together into useful information, right? So that we're collaborating with started collaboration with Jason Holmberg from WildMe and Wildbook. So the data management aspect of it is through Wildbook, which is a system that Drew Blom somewhere is going to talk about tomorrow from WildMe, where now you can look at all the sightings of the same animal over time, you know where they are and when they are, quite often, but not always. You can also link it with external information such as genetics if you have, the weather information around all the sightings. And you also get you can see who it was sighted with. So you can, for zebras, for example, you can start extracting social interactions. You can start following an animal over time. Over locations, you can find migration routes purely from photographs, but you can do population counts using Tom's bias-adjusted models, and you can do birth-death dynamics and species range and social interactions and species interactions. So much of the traditional, many of the traditional questions and much of the traditional science you can actually now start doing through images, including social media images, right? So, but you also can notice that we give information on who has contributed. So by who is studying these species, right? And by contributors now form collaborations that may not have formed otherwise. So the system was deployed initially at Lewa Conservancy as the very, very pre-alpha test, pre-duct tape version in January 2015. Lewa Conservancy in Kenya is the only UNESCO World Heritage Site in Kenya, and they're also the headquarters of the Grevy's Zebra Trust. So they do these patrols of counting the Grevy's zebras in the conservancy, and also they do monthly foal patrols of how many foals there are in the population, and then they follow them throughout. So what turns out, using IBIS and the first installation of IBIS, that not only now you can know who is this zebra, is it a zebra or cat is a zebra, but you can also, scientists, not automatically yet, age the zebra, right? So you can count how many foals, juveniles, and adults you have in the population. And using models of growing, stable, or declining population, you can sort of very quickly figure out whether you have a stable population based on the ratios of different age demographics. And turns out that the Lewa population was declining. So the actual populations in the Old Pajeta Conservancy, which is a nearby conservancy, is is declining, and also Lewa. So the Lewa gray zebra was very much in declining state, and this resulted in a policy for lion contraception, because they were the main threat to the population, right? So now, last week, we had another fall patrol. We'll see the results after a year of the system being running in Lewa. So what else you can do? So we have the first deployments of sort of massive web-based scale where, as Flukebook, which is, you can go to flukebook.org and play with it for right whales and dolphins. Internet of Turtles is a collaboration with the other IoT. It's a collaboration with the World Wildlife Fund, State of the World of Turtles, and Turtle Protector Conservancies, but through World Wildlife Fund, to create a IBIS, our system for sea turtles, many of whom are endangered. We also had massive citizen science projects to truly engage citizen scientists. We've, a year ago in Nairobi National Park, for 2 days, everybody could drive around, take pictures of zebras and giraffe, the great zebra and giraffe count. And everybody did, from US ambassador to Kenya to kids abroad, and worked with a social action organization, Stand Up, Shout Out, to bring kids from Nairobi slums who live 30 minutes away from the park, but have never been there, have never seen a wild animal in their life. And now they have. So this produced the first accurate count of the zebra population in the park, and also the same kinds of distributions that scientists and conservation managers can use. We replicated it at a much larger scale in January for the Great Grevy's Rally, where all over Kenya, at 45 locations, hundreds of people, for 2 days were driving around and took a picture of what we think every single Grevy zebra in Kenya. And that's 90% of all Grevy zebras, severely endangered, critically endangered species. And so about 25,000 left in the entire world. Most of them are in Kenya. Every now is photographed. So we actually have now a baseline population. So that's a way to incentivize this citizen science project, by actually getting people to have a challenge to drive them. So with this, we can now start scaling up science and conservation. We can engage people, really, truly engage in science, because people now follow. They're asking us about the results. They want to follow their zebra, their giraffe. The whale sharks are big, charismatic species that now everybody wants to follow because of Finding Dory. And tomorrow I'll also talk a little bit about wildlife crime and implications for privacy and security from systems like this, but also how the system like this can help. So we can scale all of the public conservation, public science and conservation, but also I want to thank everybody who's involved in this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have time for a question.
No questions. Carla is saying no questions.
No, I'm not saying.
Oh, the next speaker can come up.
I see. Yeah, time for questions.
So
I have a poster. It's the poster of this color, the bright teal poster. This is the theme. So if you want, I can also talk. And we have Drew from WildMe and Jim Basney, who's also going to be talking from Center for CTSC, Center for Trustworthy Scientific cyber security. Yes, we'll talk tomorrow about cybersecurity for wildlife and conservation.
Thank you, speaker.